Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the homeworld of Purple Borg.
They're probably not Borglove.
We'll see.
Last time we drove a train into what we assumed was all just outer defenses, only to find ourselves in a totally different world.
Sure will be nice to actually fight one of the antagonists for a change. Let's go get him. Doesn't make sense. That tower, was it always there? No, definitely not. Nor the wall over there. The material's not something we use in Tural. It's closer to what we saw at the gate of the Golden City, or those mechanical soldiers. Such a massive structure couldn't possibly have been built in so short a time. Then I'm inclined to assume we've been transported to another location. Or, perhaps... Well, speculation will avail us not. We need to learn more before we can draw conclusions. Let's take a look around then. The music doesn't match the mood. Haven't seen anyone so far. I recognize the lay of the land. It's definitely a Solani, and yet... this place is unnatural in a way I've never seen before. This place is isolated by the dome, yet the skies are heavy with thunderclouds. The air is oversaturated with lightning aspected ether. That looks like a train station, doesn't it? Where? Oh, up there? That must be Usolani Station, where the passengers disembark. Then perhaps we'll find someone to talk to there. Let's go investigate. You've got an aetherite. Wonder if it'll work through the dome. Now we can attune to it. This aetherite is of Turali design. Yeah. It's fallen into total disrepair, almost as if it hasn't been used in decades. Amidst enormous alien structures, we have more familiar sights like the station. It's a water tower for trains, isn't it? I'm pretty sure this is Yosolani Station. But from the state of it, I'd swear it was abandoned years ago. I'm not sure what to make of this. We should look around a bit more. The tracks are heavily rusted. It would seem they haven't been tended to for a long while. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of evidence of time silliness. And idle robot person. Think this thing is broken. I agree. I just punched the crap out of it and it did nothing. You find a train turntable. The thick layers of rust suggest it hasn't been used in years. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence of time disturbance going on here. Finished poking around, have you? Let's gather everyone then. I want you all to take a look at this. It's one of the mechanical soldiers, long since broken apparently. But I'd say its presence confirms this is indeed Zeralja's domain we're in. What about the rest of you? Did you learn anything? Everywhere we go, everything looks like time has passed. Lots of it. So all evidence suggests this is Yusilani Station. Aye, and I've no doubt we're in Yusilani, but I don't understand why these buildings are so run down. They were completed barely a year ago. For new structures to deteriorate and enormous ones to appear in a flash, if I didn't know it better, I would say time flows differently here. Is such a thing even possible? We've encountered this phenomena before, as it so happens. Though it may be difficult to believe, our world is but one of several. In some respects they're similar to one another, but in others, wholly different. We call them reflections. Simply put, the rift between dimensions causes time to flow at a different pace in each world. While hours pass in one, years may have come and gone in another. But if this is Yusilani, then we should still be in the source. The flow of time should be synchronized. I'm not sure I follow all this talk of reflections and dimensions. But if Erenville says this is Yusilani, then it must be. Your village is a little further along, right? Erenville. Oh, yes, it's a short distance to the northwest. Let's head there next. Rather than talk theory, it's always better to confirm things firsthand. May I be of assistance? Nope, kill it, stab it. It's still functioning? Stab it, Allie. Doesn't seem to be hostile, at least. Perhaps we can ask it some questions. Can you tell us where we are? Unable to confirm credentials. Please present citizen identification. Unable to confirm. Does it? Seems it's broken after all. Too strange by half. Let's leave it be and get going. Let's blow it up and make sure it doesn't come back later. Are those lightning rods? They certainly appear to be. Would you accompany me for a moment? There's something I wish to investigate. Yeah, sure. More answers. What's there? The lightning appears to be drawn to those pole-shaped structures over yonder. The design suggests there's some kind of manner of lightning rod. Let's go and take a closer look. The material appears to be the same as what was used in the mechanical soldiers and warships. On closer inspection, it appears to bear fine etchings, rather reminiscent of arcane runes, these. I suspect they're not merely decorative. I would posit it's used to harness lightning as a source of energy. Quite impressive technology. I'll share these observations with your Stola. For a blessing, the dome doesn't appear to interfere with link pearls. Thanks for accompanying me. Let's head to the village and find the others. No sign of anyone. Hill's village. Stay vigilant. Yeah, let's do that. Damn ghost town.
My home. It's in ruins. But why? What happened here? And where is everyone?
I had a look in a few of the other houses, but they had clearly been abandoned.
Damn it all! None of this makes sense.
Excuse me? Are you looking for someone?
I am understandably confused.
I apologize for giving you a fright. However, I did have reason to keep to the shadows. Sorolja has told me a great deal about you.
Sorolja?
Okay. Everyone should be drawing their weapons.
Greetings, and welcome to the realm of Alexandria. I am Sphene, the Queen of Reason.
Queen of Reason?
If you are the Queen of Reason, is there perhaps a...
Yes, if you mean to ask if there is a King of Resolve. Sorolja holds that title, and together do we reign.
Then you are both behind the attack on Tural.
And I doubt you're here to offer us a warm reception.
Now everyone's on the
No,
same
you
page.
have it all wrong. I am not come to fight. Sorolja rules alongside me, but that is a matter of expedience. In truth, we are at odds, he and I. It is at considerable risk to myself and my people that I come before you to beg your aid.
Our aid? I'll admit I cannot imagine King Sorolja is keen to share and share alike. But if what you say is true, you're still the Queen.
And apparently unarmed and without an escort.
Indeed. But I was once the sole ruler of Alexandria. Until one day, he appeared, bent on conquest. In my weakness, I feared his power. So I persuaded him to forego violence and strike a bargain. I would remain queen, and he would receive technology that would empower him to achieve even loftier ambitions, along with the knowledge to use it. A gamble, to be sure, but if it might spare my people...
If I may, the dome surrounding these lands was erected but recently.
How is it he was able to not only invade, but instate a new system of leadership in a mere matter of days?
I've never heard of your realm. And this place is, or at least was, Yasulani. The house I grew up in is still here. But 3 years ago, that tower and these strange contrivances weren't. Nor was our village in ruins. Where did you come from? And what happened to the people who lived here? You must know!
I realize how confusing this all must be. Truth be told, I don't fully understand it myself. What I can say is that one day, people from your Tuliolol suddenly appeared here in Alexandria. Or perhaps it was we who found ourselves in Tuliolol. Until but recently, we were completely unaware of events taking place beyond the barrier surrounding our realm.
Does this not remind you of the Crystal Tower? How after the 8th Umbral Calamity, we devised a means to transport the Spire across time and space from the source unto the First. Granted, this is on a much larger scale, if that is indeed what has happened. Not only the people and structures, but also the surrounding environment. Regardless, the people of Lakeland perceived the arrival of the Crystal Tower much as the Queen describes her own experience. Sudden and inexplicable.
Well then, you appear to have a better grasp of our circumstances than we do. Indeed, more than I dared hope. In which case, a closer examination of the effects of this phenomenon may afford us more insights. Allow me to take you to the outskirts. A number of the Shatona live there as well. Perhaps your acquaintances are among them.
Hold on. If we accept, there's no guarantee we're not walking into a trap.
Howie is my spirit animal.
But if we're to defeat Zorolja, we need to understand how he grew so strong. Besides...
You're right.
Queen Sphene, before we go, Your Majesty, I have to ask, did you really have nothing to do with the attack on Tuliolol?
Noble Wook Lamart, shall we dispense with the formalities? I'll not deny the soldiers and airships that attacked your people are products of Alexandria. But it was Zorolja, not we, who fashioned them into weapons of war and laid siege to Tuliolol.
So he alone is to blame.
As usual.
No, I may not have prosecuted this war, but I nevertheless bear responsibility for it.
Perhaps. I know next to nothing about you, let alone what you've been through. So by all means, show us around. I think we'll learn a lot from meeting your people.
Wonderful! If you would follow me.
Isn't it a little odd for a queen to be walking around on her lonesome?
Is that concern or suspicion? If things should take a turn for the worse, Might I call upon your aid? I jest, of course. But you do strike me as the most capable here.
I think it goes without saying, but we're not going to trust her just like that, right? Anyway, you look at it, a mysterious girl who appears out of nowhere proclaiming herself queen is suspicious. I totally agree. Well, having established that we should be wary, we could use more information. So let's head to this place, the outskirts, and see what we can learn, perhaps about Sphene as well. So, this is totally a trap, right?
Totally a trap.
Yeah, everything about this place is so menacing and weird, and oh, it just gets scarier the closer we get to it. That is the most intense ladybug I have ever seen. It's a relief to see the people here are well, at least. The innovations of Alexandria are nothing short of extraordinary. Yes, I can see that. Those brick buildings, I've seen their like before, though I cannot remember where. You ever seen such strange contraptions? I wonder what this one is used for. Props? Most unusual farm, but the produce appears normal enough. I trust you have similar farming facilities in Tural? No, we do not. They're completely different from ours. I've got no idea what all those machines do. We settled on this approach after some trial and error. The Turali have their own methods of farming, which they wanted to continue employing. But the environment makes it challenging. There's too much rain and not enough light. Thankfully, the use of electro has allowed us to fortify the buildings here, as well as provide what nature could not. Electro what now? Electro. It's a material we use for a myriad of devices and applications. A topic for another time, perhaps. If you would follow me, we're nearly to the outskirts. This is the apparatus used to deliver vegetables. As we can't leave them outside for too long, we use an automated system to send them through underground conduits. Our livestock aren't bothered at all by the lightning. On the other hand, people from Everkeep tend to be terrified by even the slightest rumbling of thunder. Yeah, they've all got these Borg implants.
Not bored, love, and it's kinda rude to stare.
Nothing ominous about those floating platforms at all. It's a rather lively settlement, isn't it? In defiance of the ceaseless gloom, almost. It's a relief to see people here as well. Hopefully the same can be said for everyone in Usolani. This is a Tanahuatan village, or at least it was, before the dome and these strange contraptions. I'll admit, I've seen nothing particularly suspicious yet. You should be standing behind her. It's fascinating how they've combined traditional bricklaying with electro-based engineering. A curious blending of two cultures.
Here we are. Though you'll doubtless find much of what you see in Alexandria strange, the traditional agriculture practiced in this village at least should be familiar.
Sure. Yeah, familiar.
Queen Sphene? What business brings her here, I wonder?
The queen is
has come!
Okay, is it just me, or did this
You
just
look
get
well,
very
Paquin, eh?
pod people-y?
And Katonye, I see you've already taken to your new position.
When she introduced herself as queen, I was expecting someone colder. Honestly, she reminds me of you, Lamachi.
Me?
It's only natural for a ruler to love her people. And I should like to know them as best I can, even the most trifling details.
The more you come to know them, the more you grow to love them. Who they are and what they've built.
That's it. Beautifully put.
And it would appear that she is well loved in turn.
Okay, when this goes invasion of the body snatchers,
Your Majesty,
I'm gonna say I told you so.
honor us with your presence. And who are these fine people?
Tuliolol's vow of resolve Wuk-Lamat and her companions. They come from beyond the barrier, but you needn't worry. They are good people and are to be treated as my honored guests.
The rumors of a link to the outside are true, then. Wuk-Lamat is still so young. Where are my manners? I am Popone, a leader of sorts of the people living out here.
Papone? That is a Tonawautanrig to it.
Right you are. I take it you hail from this region as well? Teshpiani, perhaps?
Yes, I do. I don't suppose you know a woman by the name of Kafkiwa?
Kafkiwa? I'm afraid I'm not sure if I've ever met someone with that name.
Oh. Mother isn't here. But it's a relief to know at least some of the people of Yasulani are alive and well.
Your mother, you say? Now that you mention it, I do see the resemblance.
You know my mother?
I do. Yes.
Then tell me, please, where is she?
I cannot say. Not here, but I promise I will in due time.
I have a question, Pepone. Do you recall what happened the day the dome first appeared?
The barrier? Well, I remember fixing a shelf that had collapsed after a terrible earthquake. Then the ground began to tremble. There was a brilliant flash of light, and then... Forgive me, my recollection of it all is rather poor.
You needn't push yourself, Popone. After 30 years, no one could blame you for not remembering.
30 years? As in 30 years in the past?
Absurd though it may sound, there is no doubt in my mind the events that led to the joining of our lands occurred 30 years ago. Which is not to say I understand why our perceptions of the intervening time are so radically different. We only just became aware of the discrepancy, when Zoralja's military base was completed, and we were at last able to venture beyond the barrier.
I believed you long dead. To have the chance to kill you myself is an unforeseen blessing.
Okay, that makes way more sense now.
30 years. Little wonder Zoralja assumed our father had already passed away.
It's not unlike how time passes differently in the First and the Source. The fluctuating space of the rift between them disrupting temporal equivalence. Perhaps the same holds true here, and time flowed faster within the dome.
Do you suppose time is still passing faster in here?
I was able to make contact with Y'shtola not long ago via link pearl, so that shouldn't be cause for concern. And based on the Queen's account, this encampment may have come to serve as a physical bridge between the two planes, after which the dome was forced into the Source's temporal flow.
If we're to be certain of anything, we need more information. Sphene, would it be all right if we had a look around and spoke with the townspeople?
By all means.
Time to see what we can see of Alexandria, then.
The instant someone screams, I'm chopping their head off.
And its people. I may yet find familiar faces among the survivors from Yasolani.
Even if I don't understand the half of it, I would learn more of this place before we confront Zoralja.
Perhaps you'd care to see how we make our living. Though we have always prided ourselves on the use of traditional Tonawatan farming methods, the use of electro-fueled technologies has led to countless agricultural innovations.
I would join you as well.
Ma'am, please, you needn't trouble yourself.
It's no trouble at all. And I promise not to cause any manner of distraction.
You literally just summoned the
Reassuring
whole
words,
village to yourself.
or they would be had I not heard them countless times before. Very well, but do be careful.
Of course. I shall proceed with the utmost care. Now then, if you two would follow me, we can begin the tour.
I can't say that I trust her yet, but I trust that her affection for these people is genuine, and that's enough for me.
Is no one gonna ask about the implants? Touring farmlands with the queen of another nation is not how I expected to spend my day. I know, I expected a lot more decapitation or at least defenestration. Electrope has done much to improve the efficiency of our farming, but hasn't replaced everything. The people wanted to preserve their old way of life, and we did not want to force ours upon them. You went to great lengths so that our cultures could coexist, even going so far as to learn our tongue. I'm sure everyone appreciated that. Communication was thankfully not an issue, for the Turali tongue is surprisingly similar to Alexandrian. Of course, these are words and phrases for which there are no equivalent, but those can be taught with minimal effort. Through mutual respect, understanding, and patience, we Alexandrians and Turali have learned a great deal from one another, and I'm sure that and I'm sure there is much you wish to learn as well, so please, if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask. The implants. Rather than bore you with lengthy explanations, let's head back to the farm we passed earlier. Yippie's Halo, it's called. We can speak with one of the farmers when we arrive. I guess we're off to Yippie's Halo. Sorry, I'm a little busy. I must organize these resources before they can be traded in Everkeep. Welcome to the outskirts. We don't have much to offer, but make yourself at home. Things... Wahowakwi. And I lived in Ysolani since before the whole hullabaloo, all those years ago. I make my way raising livestock, but I hurt my back while carrying a bag of feed. These days I spend more time looking after myself than the animals. Well, as the name implies, the outskirts is just what we call the land outside Everkeep. I suppose only started calling it that after the dome appeared. It's home to folks who just want to live off the land, folks like me. Having said that, things sure have changed over the years. Now we got all kinds of new technology, for better or worse. As luck would have it, the Reforgers have brought in a variety of wares. If you buy Cumber gemstones, I'd be happy to trade with you. If you see any Hoglops out there, be sure to let me know. You wouldn't believe the trouble they can cause. Here we are. I'm sure you'll learn a great deal from the workers here. What do you suppose they keep inside this building? I mean, most of the buildings have been unremarkable. Maybe an assimilation chamber. Allow me to introduce Mahuwasa. Mahuwasa? One of the more experienced farmhands in all of Alexandria. She's well versed in a myriad of farming techniques. Indeed, the wealth of knowledge she has shared with the other farmers is what has allowed this place to flourish. Queen Sphene, to what do we owe this sudden shower of praise? My apologies for the interruption. I came with guests from beyond the barrier. They wish to learn more of Alexandria, so I invited them to see how our crops are grown. I do hope that's alright. So the rumors of visitors from the outside were true. What manner of hosts would we be to deny them a look around? And I gather your majesty has intended to check on things here? You know me too well. I thought to seize this opportunity to see how the farmers fare, perhaps pepper them with a few questions, though I do so enjoy observing and taking part in the work too. It would appear we have her permission, so please walk the grounds to your heart's content. You go on ahead. I'll keep Sphene company. Don't misunderstand, I'm not the suspicious type, but given our positions, it would make sense for us to go around together, wouldn't you say? A fair point, but be sure not to let me out of your sight. She's gonna turn into a big robot spider or something, and we're just gonna have to break her apart. I shall remain under Wakamat's watchful eye. Pray, come find us after you've seen your fill and spoken with other farmhands. My duties here are quite varied despite being merely a farmer. We all have to do our part if we're to prosper. Yes. Light levels appear to be fine. As for the power source, you wish to know about my job? I want to know about your implant. I tend to the fields mostly, watering the crops, keeping the soil fertile, and so on. It admittedly took some time until I fully understood how best to carry out my duties. I also manage the lamps we use in the fields. We do our best to keep everything up to code, but should they ever start to malfunction, it's up to me to fix them. The land and sky being what they are, ensuring a rich harvest makes for constant work, but honestly, I enjoy how involved the process is. With my parents being Alexandrian, I didn't grow up knowing much about any farming. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow. Oh, an unfamiliar face. I gather this is your first time on site then. Wow, this here's the storehouse, or rather the entrance. The real storehouse is underground, much more spacious and equipped with a temperature regulation system to keep the harvest from spoiling. Since the entrance is so small, it's much easier to prevent wild beasts from wandering inside, which also makes it a viable facility for breeding and raising livestock. We've even got a few beds down there for emergencies. My parents often complain how Alexandrian technology and electro complicate our lives, but it's just a matter of learning how things work. Take my job, for instance. I'm presently overseeing the storage of harvested crops. They'll be taken up to the tower for processing, and from there find their way to every dining table in Alexandria. The work is hard, I'll not deny, but I take great satisfaction in what I do. They're saying that you and yours are visitors from beyond the barrier. Is that true? Yeah. So it is, which means we're connected to the outside world again. Not that I have a desire to leave, mind you. I'm quite content with life here in Alexandria. But setting that aside, you're here to observe our work, right? As you can see, I'm in charge of livestock. Here's Yippie's Halo. We produce not only fruits and vegetables, but also meat, poultry, and eggs. Tending the animals is an absolute joy, but I have to be careful not to grow attached. It's always a little sad when they're shipped off, but a job is a job. Well, I need to get back to it. It was nice talking to you. Please give my regards to the Queen. Alright, they're farmers, I get it, and they're happy with their work. You know what's suspicious about that?
What's suspicious about that?
All of it. It's a shame Kona's not here to see all these bizarre contraptions. Oh yeah, his little head would explode. I see, don't be too hard on yourself. Anyone would have been hard-pressed to deal with such a thing. Welcome back. My apologies for failing to notice your return. I gather you've had your fill of speaking with the farmers. Then let us return to Maho's gnome. Why you like this? Well, what are your impressions of the farm? I was amazed that everyone loves their work. Curious observation, do you not love your own work? Oh, but I jest. It's true that the people of the outskirts seem most fulfilled. Always, they take their duties with good cheer. And what did you think of our little tour, Lamati? What did you call me? Was that inappropriate? My apologies. I heard the others call you that by that name, and I thought... No, it's fine. As you said before, we've no need for titles and formalities. As for my thoughts, I was very impressed. That machines could be used to overcome such a harsh an environment is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. The feeling is understandable. Indeed, many still find the machinery behind me baffling. It's a system that controls the distribution of water for the fields and livestock. It's been acting up lately, though. Acting up, you say? You needn't worry, my queen. It happens fairly often. Put simply, it's taken in water that had a strong lightning charge. We think some creatures have become charged up with the energy and they're releasing it into the river we use as a source. The system would return to normal if the creatures were dealt with, but I'm reluctant to beg it of the army. We could take care of it if you'd like. That's most gracious of you to offer, but it's much too dangerous. Oh, it's no trouble for the vow of resolve of Toyola. Regardless of how the relationship between our nations may develop, if there are people in need, I want to help. Simple as that. Mailia here is even stronger than I am. It shouldn't take us long at all. Then very well, I gratefully accept. Please take all care. This ought to go even faster if you and I search for lightning-charged fiends on our own. Good hunting. Yes, let's split the party even more in enemy territory. There's no way that could go wrong. I do not doubt your strength, but please be careful. Yeah. Sorry for dragging you into our troubles. If it seems too dangerous, don't hesitate to retreat. With a glide! That was underwhelming. Oh, you have an interest in our farmland? I'll tell you anything you want to know. What you want to know about me? There's not much to tell. Tapioca. I've always had a fondness for growing things, and I've gotten quite good at cooking various types of produce. I can also tell you how fresh vegetables are just by looking at them. Okay? This is Yippie's Halo, an important part of life here on the outskirts. I work alongside Shaloki, who runs the place, and we cultivate a variety of vegetables here. With the help of electric technology, we make the most of what the land has to offer and support those who call this place home. They also grow produce inside Everkeep, but it's not the same as the plants originally from Tural. This farmland is mainly used for cultivating Turali vegetables using traditional methods. Wow, you really are strong. Yeah, that was barely a kick in the shins. You're both alright, thank goodness. You really needn't have worried so much. We barely broke a sweat dealing with the fiends. They're all gone now. Of course I was worried. You're our dear guests. But thank you. We truly appreciate this. Indeed, with this we won't have to ask Zeraldra's machines for help. He's been making a concerted effort to bolster his forces, sparing but a fraction for the people's protection. He thinks nothing of our safety, unlike Queen Sphene. That's enough, Lahusa. If you have grievances, I will hear them later, but to speak of the king now... No, she's right. He's never been one to look after his people. Anyway, thanks for letting us tour the farm. The folks here are delightful, and it was a pleasure to meet them. You couldn't have favored us with more uplifting words. My people are my pride and joy. And you never fail to let us know, nor how much you can. Of course, you're my precious family, all of you. You seem a good sort, Sphene. That I'll admit, but you'll forgive me if I'm not ready to lower my guard for the enemy queen just yet. For you to be called that, I dread to imagine what villainy your majesty has committed. Come now, this is no laughing matter. It's responsible for the welfare of countless lives, and one wrong decision can lead to untold suffering. Failure is unconscionable. Now, I believe we're done with the farm. Let's move on, shall we? Zeralja, you bastard. My apologies for laughing earlier. Your friend painted an image so far removed from Sphene we know I couldn't help myself. Sure. Perhaps you should head back to the outskirts. I dare say your friends will also have returned by now. But thanks again for dealing with the fiends. Come and visit us anytime. There is so much of Alexandria I would love to show you. Do you hear that? I hear nothing.
What's happening over there?
It's nearly time.
That's not ominous at all.
I'm glad you could make it.
Are you with us?
Queen Sphene has come to see you.
We're here, Namika. Everything is going to be all right. What's the matter, dear?
It can't be. That's the bangle I gave to Namika.
You know her?
Of course I know her. She was like a mother to me.
I see. She was always willing to lend a kindly ear to others, but rarely did she ever speak of herself.
Is it really you?
She must have arrived shortly before the barrier manifested. For us, it was perhaps days, but for her...
Namika, it's me! Wuklamat!
I'm afraid her time with us is nearly at an end.
Has she no more soul cells?
She always used hers sparingly, but at her age, it wouldn't make a difference.
Ma'am, the ushers have arrived.
Thank you, Namika, for your many years of friendship. Take comfort in the knowledge that this is not the end. Be not afraid. Your memory will live on, in us.
Living on in memory. The Giants share a similar belief.
Wait! Where are you taking her?
Worry not. She is being escorted to a medical facility in the tower. There we will ease her burden. I had hoped to make arrangements for her sooner, but she wished to remain here for as long as possible. I could not bring myself to refuse her.
Is there any way I might stay with her for a little while longer? We may not share the same blood, but she was my mother. Please.
Let us give them some time alone.
She didn't speak, but I'm grateful that I could be with her at the end. Thank you.
It's not the end.
Hmm?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking that we have much to discuss. Where shall we begin?
With what we can be reasonably certain of, perhaps. Between what we have witnessed and the testimony of Alexandria's inhabitants, it's safe to say that two distinct lands have indeed become one. What's more, having met Namika, there is no denying the divergence in the passage of time. Taken together, these phenomena strongly suggest that some manner of cross-rift displacement has occurred. Specifically, the displacement of Alexandria from another reflection to the source.
It does seem the most likely explanation.
What perplexes me, however, is the scale of said displacement. It far exceeds what could conceivably be achieved with a Void Gate, or even with the Crystal Tower. In essence, we are dealing with a localized instance of dimensional compression. The Ascians would no doubt liken it to a rejoining. Which invites the question, how was such a feat accomplished?
I wish that I had an answer for you, but this talk of reflections and dimensions is well beyond my understanding. I can only tell you that we lived peacefully under the barrier's protection for many, many years, until the day that peace was suddenly broken.
If I may clarify, the barrier predates Alexandria's displacement.
By several hundred years, yes. To when the continent we call home was ravaged by a devastating cataclysm. The barrier was erected to isolate us from the surrounding land's noxious influence.
I see. And it was only later that it was whisked away, along with its contents, by means unknown.
In other words, Sphyn's as lost as the rest of us, right? The Alexandrians didn't mean to end up in Tural.
But of course, our next stop ought to be Everkeep. That tower over yonder. Once you have been registered as my guests, you will have access to Solution 9 and its residential district, where you will doubtless gain invaluable insight into Alexandria's state of affairs. Unfortunately, I cannot take you directly to where Zoraljar resides.
That you'd let us in it all goes a long way toward proving you're not content to let Zoraljar do as he pleases. But we're not talking about a simple difference of opinion here. I've come to avenge my father. And to do so, I intend to take Zoraljar's life. Are you willing to stand by and allow Alexandria's king to be slain?
A fair question. Permit me to answer it thus. My people come first. Their welfare is paramount. I will do everything in my power to keep them from harm. It is a ruler's duty. Now, I am off to register you at Everkeep. It may take some time, but you shall find the entrance open to you in due course. Oh, and ere I forget, your mother, Kafkiwa, you might try the Thunder Yards to the east.
The Thunder Yards? Is that where she is?
I'm afraid I can say no more than that. Make for the Thunder Yards, and all will be made clear.
It's not as if we have other pressing business. Not until we can get into this Everkeep, anyway. Thank you for earlier. And for being a friend to Namika these past 30 years. It means a lot to me.
Namika? I'm sorry, but I don't know who you mean.
And there's the horror of it.
What? We were just with her. If this is some sort of a joke, it isn't funny.
I don't mean to give offense, but I honestly have no idea who you are talking about. I'm sorry.
How can you not know who she is? You're in charge here. She was under your care.
Then in all likelihood, my memories of her have been stored in the cloud.
Oh, and they're aware of it. Oh, okay.
Any person seemingly forgotten without reason is probably there, in the cloud. Oh, I really must be getting back to work. If you'll excuse me.
Okay, so we're all horrified now, right? This is very unsettling. No kidding. We'll see how it is with other people. As far as I could tell, Papione genuinely had no recollection of Namika. Yeah, I figured that part out. I've never seen or heard of anything like this before. I have... Oops. What's going on? How could Papione suddenly forget about Namika? It's as if he never knew her. Could the same thing have happened to the others, I wonder? There's only one way to find out. We'll make inquiries about Namika in the area. We can reconvene afterwards at the Aetheryte. Oh, the woman named Namika? I'm afraid I don't know that person. I'm sorry, I couldn't be of help. I do not recall caring for someone with I do recall caring for someone until recently, and you say that it was a woman named Namika? Wow, I can't say for certain if it was her, I wouldn't worry. I'm sure she's just been taken up to the cloud. What's that? Do I know a Namika? Never met anyone by that name. I've worked at the outskirts for a good while now. If she'd spent time here, I'd remember. So it's the same for everyone. Not a single person remembers Namika. It's as if memory of her has been purged from their minds. While such a thing might be done with magic to alter memories of so many at once would be a tremendous undertaking, we would have felt a surge of ether corresponding to the act, too, and I sensed none at that moment. Neither did I, but I did notice something else. Right before Pepione seemingly forgot, a light in the device on his head began to blink. Could there be a connection? Someone also said something about soul cells. Who might we ask about this? If we continue making such inquiries, I expect we would only cause confusion. Indeed, if we can't readily solve the mystery about Namika, perhaps we could search for... Angel's bomb instead. Sphene said to try the Thunder Yards. It should be in this direction. Impossible. Another kind of mechanical soldier? Looks dangerous. We'd better destroy it. With a grenade! Anya, shoot it quick! Should we give chase? I think I understood our words. It might be worth asking it some questions. Angel, are you alright? You look like you've seen a ghost. It's nothing, I'm fine. Well, I went off in the direction we're headed anyway, so let's try to track it down. Seems like we have more questions than answers at this point.
Right, and I couldn't help but notice that Sphene pointedly dodged certain questions altogether. I think it's safe to say she's not being entirely honest with us.
Right, mysteries for next time. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets and family members. Das Vidania.